Ooh. And all of a sudden it's on.
It is on. And if you happen to miss it, just to add some spice, Elias Theodoro, the ring card boy.
Scheduled for 3 rounds in the Bantamweight division. Introducing your fighters. First, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black and red trunks. Standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, he weighed in at 134 pounds. He's a freestyle mixed martial artist representing Joslin's MMA. He comes to the cage for his debut professional fight tonight. Fighting out of and representing Hamilton, Ontario. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Marc Gillespie. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, wearing in the black trunks, blue trunks trimmed in black. Standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, he weighed in at 134.8 pounds. He's a freestyle mixed martial artist representing Barrhaven Academy of Martial Arts. He comes to the cage with a record of 2 wins and 1 loss. Fighting out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jeff Chan. Refereed by motion with fight instruction.
Some great support from the crowd for both fighters.
Marc Gillespie's a really big bantamweight.
Will be decided in 3 rounds or less.
Is that game changing? Are guys trying to, are they still trying to figure out their weights, or is it a situation where you still want to be as big as humanly possible?
As long as you can move well and as long as you're flowing at that weight, Gillespie definitely cut a lot of weight to make the 135-pound limit. Chan getting aggressive early. So those leg kicks you don't want to play around with. You see Gillespie backing away. I don't think that's the game you want to play with Chan. You want to move towards him.
Chan in the blue shorts, taking the center of the cage.
Did you hear that thud of that shin? Those leg kicks are going to be nasty.
And why wouldn't you use a tool if it's in your arsenal? If you have a Thai boxing background, why not go with it?
Gillespie landed a heavy one of his own. Chan looking for the takedown now. Gillespie working at Kimura. That's a game that Jeff Joslin likes to play, is that Kimura game. They want, Joslin says, put him down, Mark. And he goes down. It's not the way they wanted to do it.
Gillespie trying to attack. Chan happy to stay in this position for the time being as he lands some blows.
When Chan stands up, he wants to drive his hips forward. You can't lean over like that. Oh!
2 big right hands. Gillespie seems unfazed.
He's in danger, though, Chan, but he's very, very well trained in the ground. Right here's dangerous spot for Gillespie. This game of attacking the leg, your face is open to heavy, heavy punches here. And there's one coming.
And you see Gillespie almost out of danger, but Chan.
Now the big question is, how many big punches has Gillespie taken? This is his pro debut, and these are big shots. Up kicks are a really good idea here. You want to play them? Because big shots from a young, powerful, good, talented martial artist like Chan changes your whole processing. The way that you process the game, the way your brain is running routines and subroutines gets thrown off by one big punch.
Doubt. Both guys putting on a show here in the early stages of BTC Vendetta.
So before this all started, this whole ground exchange came about because Gillespie threw a kick, Jeff Chan caught it and took him down. At that moment, Jeff Joslin, Gillespie's corner, was asking him to go to the ground. They wanted him on top. They wanted him on top, not here taking big shots. He's going to take a really big one. And he sensed it.
And you see some swelling under the left eye of Gillespie. From the ground strikes landed by Chan, and that must be a confidence booster.
Gillespie's right foot is coming off the ground when he throws that right hand. It's because he's a little bit shaken up.
And you hear the corner of Chan just asking for the 1-2.
When you've taken some punches, especially when you're not as familiar with taking punches, you throw your heaviest punch and they feel weak. You don't know.
Sends Gillespie down to the canvas quickly, but he quickly makes his way back to the standing position.
Gillespie's eyes are focused. His eyes are focused. Chan's corner yelled for a high kick. Gillespie can hear that as clean as we can hear it. Doesn't mean he'll process it.
Chan really throwing heat. Another trip.
Now,
But Gillespie
gave up his back there to use it to get his feet under him to stand back up. Chan's going to look left knee here to the body. Chan instead goes right knee to the thigh. He might look to lace that thigh. Nope. Gillespie doing a pretty good job here, but Chan has a free left hand. And Chan's trying to pass the right hand in.
Referee Brian Beauchamp steps in on illegal low blow landed. By
A good
Chan
fight.
to
Both
Gillespie.
Both guys doing really, really well here. Whether they can feel it or not, they're both very focused. They're both well into this fight right now.
And if you're Gillespie, I know it hurts.
Shake.
You got to shake it off as quickly as possible.
It's about focus. You know, focus is a limited resource, and it is a renewable resource, but it's a limited resource. I like the way Chan closed distance immediately as Gillespie was getting up, trying to crowd the stand-up.
Now, is it safe to say what we're seeing is that Jeff Chan is landing the more impactful strikes?
Yeah, and he's comfortable. I mean, when we're talking in the pre-fight, we were talking about, you know, looking at Muay Thai footage of him 7 and 8 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's still a very young man, but he has that experience when he can be standing in here. Neither of them should be thinking. And there's the moment that Gillespie was looking for. But it'll be short on the clock now. We don't have the time in front of us. There it is.
10 seconds. And Jeff Joslin screaming elbows. You want to zing your opponent at the end of the round. And Chan makes his way to his feet, back to his corner.
If you're Jeff Joslin, you're talking to Gillespie right now about the fact that we had some good moments there at the end.
Elias Theodoro getting ready for his bout in Toronto against Eric Anders.
Elias will be fighting 14 days from today. That's why he takes his shirt off right now, because he's been losing weight to get ready for his fight. I've seen Elias after he's been drinking a number of beers for weeks in between fights. He wouldn't be walking around with no shirt on like he is now. But good on him. Athletes, man, they work so hard. They get into shape, and you get a little break in between. Elias is about to fight his 19th fight as a professional fighter, you know? So if the guy takes a couple of weeks off to drink some carbonated beer-flavored beers, then let him. But looking good here.
I'm sure some valuable information shared in both corners. I like the disposition of Marc Gillespie.
I was just thinking that. I do too. You know, the difference is he's now in a fight. Before he had to think about it, anticipate it, get ready. Yes, exactly. He knows what it's like. It hurts, it kind of sucks, but it's sort of exciting, and he's highly focused right now. But man, when you throw those first couple punches in a pro fight, when you don't have the experience, your arms feel like noodles, and you can see that in Gillespie right now. He's throwing punches correctly, but he doesn't have the belief in them because he hasn't had the time in here. Whereas when Jeff throws, he's fully committed. Turns the hip, drives the ball of the foot into the mat.
A closed guard achieved by Gillespie, just anchoring his opponent to him at this stage, maybe just trying to think about what's going on.
For this round, and all fights going forward, Gillespie's going to be a lot more concerned with keeping this man low like he is now. Notice he's really fighting to do it. Doesn't mean he will do it here, but he's fighting to do it. Because he just tasted some of those man standing over you, punching you while your head is trapped on the mat punches. Those are some of the worst punches you could take.
They look like
They're
it.
terrible. Yeah. But when you're dishing them out, they feel pretty good.
I'm sure they do. And right now, Jeff Chan probably enjoying this position because he's on top. He's racking up points. He can take a little bit of a break because when you look at round one, if there's an unofficial scorecard, you would have to imagine that was Jeff Chan.
Yes, I definitely would. This is a dangerous spot, man. Jeff Chan is well prepared. The guys at the Ontario Academy of Martial Arts have really worked on his purple belt jiu-jitsu game to get him playing it, standing in positions where he can punch.
Nick Castiglia over there.
Nick is an ornery one. You notice that, like, he'll like suck the life out of him, like his commands, and to a certain degree, that is intended to be heard by your opponent. You know, you want him hearing that.
How big of a victory is that for Marc Gillespie that he was able to get up?
Big. Win or lose this fight, this is a personal victory. I mean, these are incredibly difficult and exhausting things to go and compete in a fight like this. And Gillespie's doing really well right now. I like the choices to the body. He's just got to watch out for the counter kicks and punches. And Chan's having a hard time breathing here, so he's moving a little slower than he was.
And clearly that's why Jeff Joslin is giving Gillespie the advice of attack the body.
Yep.
He's fading.
Yep. Yeah, and to a certain degree he is. Now Jeff Chan gets the assignment of trying to win that personal victory, of pushing yourself when you're tired. See, Chan's now also starting to like throw big stuff, complicated stuff. That's not what you want to do when you're mentally fatigued. You want to go back to jab and low kick, straight right hand right there. Perfect choice. When you get tired, you kind of feel like everything needs to be a home run. It's a natural nature, but you don't need it to be a home run.
But the idea, I guess, is you throw the big one, it's going to be over.
Yeah, and you're doing it to a certain degree out of a bit of panic. Like, I better get this over because what if I get more tired? You have to defeat your brain's own desire.
Excellent choice by Gillespie, but Chan.
This is going to make Chan work, though, too.
But luckily for Chan, he's got the cage. He's using that to his advantage to stay upright.
Gillespie wants to drop his hips low, take his left hand, put it on Chan's right ankle, and pick that. Because, yes, Chan is working, but Gillespie's doing more work here. Chan's weight is on him. See the curvature of his spine? The head is lower than the hips. You do not want that in this position. You want the hips lower than the chest and the head, if you're Gillespie. Gillespie wants his hips lower than his head. Chan wants Gillespie's head lower than his hips, which is exactly what he's doing right now with his right hip. He's pushing Gillespie's head down. Anybody who's ever did a deadlift or a clean and jerk or a squat, you know you got to have your chest up to work hard with your legs. When you've got that arch in your back, you don't have the strength.
Right. The stability or the strength.
Yep.
These guys slugging away. Blood all over the face of Gillespie.
It's a really great, this is what we were talking about going in. What a great fight. Two young guys, skilled, smart, tough. Winning the small battles, but also winning their own mental battles, their own challenges.
Certainly a better round for Marc Gillespie, but was it enough in the eyes of the judges?
I'm not sure that it was, but yes, you're definitely right, especially the second half of that second round. Gillespie's in a fight, but he's very much in it with the potential to still win. And, you know, you can't imagine what this is like going in. No matter what Gillespie imagined, it wasn't this. It was probably him landing a jumping spinning kick, and then all of the ring card girls, or in this case Elias, wanting to buy him drinks, right? And celebrating his greatness. What you don't imagine is you absorbing a lot of punches and still coming back stronger. But in the long run of you as a fighter and as a human, this is a better scenario. You find yourself starting round 3 in the fight with the potential to definitely win it.
When you have a coach like Jeff Joslin who has been there and has an understanding that, you know what, you're not going to know things in your first fight. You're going to get that information. You are potentially going to be beaten up.
That's right.
That's part of the game.
That's right. And for Jeff's won 2 rounds, we believe, you know, potentially. But Jeff's going to have to dig a little deeper because he works his best when he's fancy and slick and showing technique. It's
And moving
harder.
forward.
And moving forward and moving his feet and bouncing. That's harder to do as you fatigue. So this minute right now is going to be the best minute Jeff has in this round. And then it's going to get a little more challenging for him. And that's really good for him.
A couple of nice combinations landed by Chan.
They went right versus right. Both missed, but either one would have landed. It would have been a tough one.
Gillespie a little off balance. He's throwing strikes.
See that right hand of Gillespie's? That thing cracks pads super hard, but it isn't now because the leg is sore and he can't put the weight on. He can't drive off the ball of his back foot.
A desperate attempt, and
Yeah.
that
Or a
could've-
fake.
Yeah, that could have played out very differently.
Yeah, a knee coming up right there. So Gillespie's corner wanting more than one punch, and that's not a bad idea. You know, come in with a second and a third punch. Whoever lands the last punch in the next meaningful exchange is going to have the best moment here.
Chan parrying well, looking to land the counter.
That's a good touch by Chan right there.
Just stinging Gillespie with that left hand.
So you notice they say forward. It's hard to go forward, man.
Yeah,
Jeff Chan's kicking you, punching you, moving really well. This is a hard spot. Look at Jeff's hips. Perfectly placed, chest high. It's a hard spot. Now that kick could have landed if he put some mustard on it. Jeff calling for an underhook and the knee against the underhook. I'm not sure exactly what he means. So, man, if you're Jeff Chan, you're happy right now.
Of course.
This is, from a psychological standpoint, being on top is probably the best place to be. You know, it's a different experience being on top and controlling the other person. Gillespie is playing around with a guillotine. Currently, it's not there. I don't know if he's got a game with which he can have a partial guillotine and move his hips to attack it. But right now, it's not a threat.
And if you're Jeff Chan, do you let Gillespie squeeze a little bit?
Yeah, for
Let
sure.
him burn out his arms?
You take that left shoulder, you drive it into his chin. You see Chan doing it? See Chan's hand is underneath him. Chan's palm, his left palm is flat on the mat. Drive your shoulder down, TP up high, drive off the balls of both feet, and just let this guy do that. We're winning the fight, we think, right? Man, if this goes in 1 minute, 2 minutes, that'd be great. If the ref stands it up, that'd probably be good too. It's Gillespie that's gotta do the work here.
And who's working harder in this position?
You know, that's in theory. You know, it's an interesting one. I was with Bubba Jenkins, who was one of the highest level wrestlers in the world. I was with him in Barrhaven. He's a champion over there, and he was talking about 50-50 positions. And this isn't one, but in scenarios where it should be even for both guys, it favors the guy better at that position. So a wrestler will always be better. A high-level wrestler will be better in a position that's supposed to be 50-50. This one is a wrestling-dominant position on top and a, quote, Brazilian jiu-jitsu game on the bottom. So who's ever better at that particular game will have an advantage. But generally speaking, the guy on top will be happier to be there every day of the week.
And as you pointed out, some time eaten up on the clock. The referee standing up the two fighters. And now some urgency seen from Marc Gillespie. A spinning back fist lands on Chan. But
expect Chan to throw something fancy and to answer. That may have reminded him. Chan's a very good tactician and technician. So don't be surprised if that just made him think, oh yeah, I got fancy stuff too.
Will we
Another
see
spinning
a jumping knee?
Yeah, maybe.
Always seems to be one of those moves at the last second. If somebody's down.
Well, Chan's got the skills to do those moves.
Chan looking for the takedown.
Smart, right?
Some beautiful elbow strikes to the side of the head.
Those are bad.
Gillespie, and Chan has had enough. Wants to take it down to the ground, and that is it. 15 minutes has expired. The crowd appreciative of the martial arts action that they just witnessed.
You know, regardless of who wins this fight, both guys better take this away and look at it and be very proud of this fight. Right down to the last second of a hard-fought 15-minute fight, both guys are fighting with everything they have. It's something we should admire, and it's something they should be very, very proud of, both these two.
To me, it's one of the reasons why people need to tune into mixed martial arts, because it's performances like these where you get to see the blood and guts and heart and athletes really trying their best to find a way to win. But the most important thing is they leave the cage with more information, and they leave the cage literally better martial artists.
I think we appreciate them more when we're watching at home if we understand they're just like us. We often put athletes, we watch athletes, and we think they're some other breed or some other thing. Jeff Chan is just a guy. Marc Gillespie's just a guy. They're just guys who worked really, really hard and prepared themselves physically and technically and mentally to come in here and compete. Once you phrase it that way to yourself, you admire it so much more deeply. These two guys, 14 minutes and 58 seconds into this painfully difficult fight, they're both pushing it all the way to the end. It's wonderful to see. It's inspiring.
Both men, I'm sure, nervous in anticipation of the result. But I'm sure if you're in the corner of Jeff Chan, they're fairly confident that their man will emerge victorious.
If we were just going with who would you rather be, I'd rather be Jeff Chan.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause for both the fighters in this cage. After 3 rounds of professional mixed martial arts, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Judge Doyle scores the contest 30-27. Judge Trevino scores the contest 30-26. And Judge Hannon scores the contest 30-27. All for your winners.